All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 82 of Expert Mentors Live. We've got the one and only Tammy back on with us. I'm super excited for today's episode. We're going to jump into a presentation that she closed out Mastermind in Key West for us a couple weeks ago. And we were chatting with Kyle, and he's like, man, I want to do it for an Expert Mentors. I was like, good, because I'm going to call Tammy up and get her on as well. So I appreciate you making the time to jump in with us. Say hello to the Honey Badger Nation.
Hello, Honey Badgers. Always good to be with you, my friends.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm grateful for you making the time, jumping in. I know you got a lot on your plate. You said you were taking a break from baking pies today.
You know, it's the way it's always going to be. Here it is the day before Thanksgiving, so it makes it a little bit harder to get someone that can hop on the call. And I said it's going to typically be a woman that's going to be cooking 2 days worth of food. I got an hour here and there. What's the big deal? Come on.
No, that's fantastic. So I know from the presentation, man, I took a lot of notes. So you guys listening in, make sure you have your notepad and pen handy because Tammy's going to bring the value for you guys, things that you could actually take away and implement right into your business immediately. So let's get after it.
You bet. And that's always the goal that I have whenever I give any kind of presentation, whether online or in person, is it has got to be entertaining enough to keep you awake and keep you listening. And it's got to have some really practical, bare bones takeaways that you can go use today that don't overwhelm you. So that's what we're going to shoot for today. My presentation, I'll keep the story part kind of short, but it's such a great story. You got to hear it anyway, where I came up with the title of Don't Burn the Beans, managing your social media while managing your life. And I call it that because I find realtors are always just so overwhelmed with how much we all have to do. We're all negotiating contracts, keeping our sellers happy, looking for new buyer leads, you name it. And now we come in and say, we've also got to find a way to somehow be posting on social media all the time. So that's where I got the title of this. And so it came from a story from my mom. So let's see here. There we go. There is my mom. She had me at 38 years old, and she and my dad were 38 and 40. I had 2 brothers and who were much older. So I was a surprise baby, and the golden child, they called me. I always said I could do no wrong, and I really was a good kid. I never caused really any trouble. I always made good grades, super nerdy. Just the kind of kid every mom would want or every dad, pretty much. So we grew up, I grew up in East Texas in the town of Marshall, which if you're on I-20, it's Dallas, Tyler, Longview, Marshall, all on I-20, right before you hit Shreveport, Louisiana. So grew up about 15 miles from the Louisiana border. The funny thing is I talk to people at conferences and things, and they always say, oh, well, I love your Texas accent. I can tell you're from Texas. It's like, no, in Texas, people ask me, where are you from? So that's a very common thing I get around here. And I'm like, well, I'm from the Louisiana border, which is much more Mississippi, Alabama. So it's a different world. Mm-hmm. My parents were both very, very hard workers, very little education. My dad had a 6th grade education, was a welder, but they instilled in me a love of learning and doing my best. And they were always teaching. And they were teaching what people lack a lot these days, which is common sense. Everywhere, every time I was in the car with them going anywhere, it was, you know, my dad had no education, but he was an uneducated engineer's mind. And he would be teaching me, he said, and if you're ever going down a hill and your brakes go out, you know, this is back in the day. He's like, this is how you downshift, and you got to go zigzag down and catch the edge of the curb all the way to slow yourself down. Because he had driven 18-wheelers, you name it. So I like to believe in good old common horse sense. And if they had a moment we were sitting together, they were teaching me something. Right. So that's my mom. She passed away in June at the age of 90, and she died the way she lived, on her terms. She died in her own home with 24-hour care, and it was quick, and she's just the light of my life. Let's see, how are we going to go about this? This was me in 1976, so I was 9 years old. And we lived out at the lake. And I said, I always tell people, that means I'm 52, so you don't have to do the math. I'll save you some time. That's what I was just instinctively, out of curiosity, start doing, you know. So that was me in 1976. And my brother was older and married. My other brother had been killed. So I've had a strange and interesting life, I guess. But my brother was married. And at 9 years old, when you're pretty much an only child at home, that was pretty exciting that my brother and his wife were going to come over for dinner. They lived 30, 40 miles away in Shreveport, so it was a big day. So I was waiting at the little public school I was at that time, and for them to come pick me up, or for my mom to get me. And she didn't come. They showed up. I laughingly say in their 1970 something gremlin, if you remember those. It was an orange gremlin at that. And they were so cool because they were in their 20s. They were young enough to be hip. And at 9, I thought they were the coolest things ever. And they were. They still are. But the great thing, he pulled up and I got in the car and he said, oh, Mom sent us to come pick you up and let's go to Dairy Queen. I was like, man, could this day get any better? So we go to Dairy Queen and he buys us an ice cream. And I'm just thinking this is the best day of all time. And then he goes, oh, by the way, don't worry, she's okay and everything, but Mom got robbed today. So I look at him like, you're telling me this over ice cream like it's no big deal? I'm like, I'm not stupid. What is going on here? So I jokingly say that I looked at my sister-in-law because I was like, we all know that men love to tease. So we all look at the woman in the room to see, is he for real?
For true.
He looked at me like, yeah, he's for real. I'm like, what's going on? But they're like, she's okay. It's fine. So here's what had happened. This is where we lived growing up. And again, my dad made very little money the vast majority of his life. I think he made $268 a week up until the time until 1979. So very little, but he could build, he could do anything. And so this was the A-frame house on the lake that my mom had always wanted. They did a lot of the building themselves, contracted it. My dad didn't know anything, but and in real estate and in business, this has followed me my whole life. He was like, if the sun's up, I'm working, and I work until the sun goes down. That's when I quit, when there's no more light to work by. When you're an outdoor tradesman, he was feeding his family, so if there was light, he was working.
You're working.
He did not work on Sunday. We went to church. He never missed. I never heard him say a word worse than cotton picking in my entire life. I saw him miss church once in my entire life, and that's when he had the massive flu. And that counts Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. So hardworking folks here. So this was their dream house. Well, unfortunately, in 1976, this convict guy apparently had driven by, he says, to show his nephew a beautiful house. Well, what you can't see in this photo is on the left and the right, there's nothing. This was on the far side of the lake, and there's East Texas pines as tall as you can see for miles and miles in every direction. So we were the only ones on that side of the lake, very isolated. Eventually, they built up later. So my mom drives up from dropping me off at school and then doing some errands, buying groceries. She goes back out to the house and sees our door is hacked down. She thinks, at first she said she thought about driving off, and she thought, I don't see a getaway car. There's nobody here. I'm going to go in and see what they've done to my house. And so she was very mad. She walks in. I'm like, you are a crazy person. Why would you go in a door hacked down and there's no one for miles, But that's how she was. She was. I like the old saying, Abraham Lincoln had, everything I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my dear sweet mother, or sweet angel mother, I think he called her. I said, my mom wasn't as much sweet as she was sassy and spunky, and she was hot. So she was like, I'm going in this house and seeing what they did. So she walks in the house, and around the corner comes a man with a hatchet in his hand. And there they are by themselves, no one else around. She said she looked at him and she said, I've got insurance. Take whatever you want and get it out. I won't cause any problems. Get what you want. And he looked at it and he said, go get upstairs, give me all your money, and then I want you to get upstairs. I was like, my mom, probably like me and most women out there, I think she had some coins in her purse. She said, you're welcome to the coin. That's all the money I got. But he said, I want your money, your guns, and then get upstairs. So she's like, upstairs? She goes, this don't sound good. So she goes upstairs, and lucky for her, he said, get under the bed. She's like, well, that sounds good. So she got under the bed, and then he said, you're not far enough. I said, get under the bed. She said, I raised the dust ruffle up, the bed skirt, and said, this is as far as I can go. She wasn't that petite, I'm as far as I can get under this bed. So he asked her, he said, well, where are your guns? So she told him, hidden closet. It took him a couple of attempts up and down the stairs, but he finally found the guns. So he comes back and he says, okay, I'm going to leave, but don't you call the police for 30 minutes. What a random thing to say.
Right. So
30
random.
minutes, that's what I need. I need to get what do you call it? A head start, I guess 30 minutes. So she said, okay. So he goes back down and she thinks she hears him leave, but she said, I lay there about 10 minutes and I thought, this is stupid. I'm not going to sit under this bed. I heard him leave. I got to chance it. So she gets up, she goes downstairs, and she didn't tell him about the pistol under her mattress. So she gave him the other guns, but she didn't tell him about that one. So she went, she slid her hand under there, found it, went through the entire house, room by room, looking in every door. And so then she walks over to the phone and she calls my aunt, who she's very close to, her sister. And she said, Shar, I've been robbed. I need you to call the police. And she goes, you mean you didn't call the police? She goes, no, I promised I wouldn't, but I didn't say I wouldn't call you. So I told you we were good, honest church-going people. So she's honoring her word. She goes, you can call the police.
Yep.
So my aunt calls the police. So right as she's standing there, she's like, okay, good. This is going to be about over. They'll be here in just a second. And then she hears knocking at the door. This is where we get to the beans part. She hears knocking at the door and she hears a man saying, lady, can I help you? Is anyone in there? Hello? She, again, isolated on the side of the lake. She comes around the corner. And this is where the hatchet that I mentioned, that's my dad. He always had a project going after work. And that's where they found the hatchet. This is the kitchen where she walks around. You can't quite see there, but to the left of that photo is where there's a door to the back. And that's where he's leaning. And he said, ma'am, I don't know what's wrong. I just came here to ask if I could go fishing on the pretty lake. And she said, well, you made that maybe so, but you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you're not going anywhere. So at that point, she holds the gun on him. You know, here's my, 6-year-old mother this time. She holds the gun. He said, lady, I'm so scared I could run. She said, I cocked it back and I let it wobble a little. I told him, don't you do it. And she kind of leaned over on it. She said, I won't even think I might go off at any minute, you know. And then my favorite part of the story, and the part that really gets me, despite her just gumption and courage in general, is, and only a woman would do this, I really do believe. She has him at gunpoint. He's leaning against the ladder. He does turn out to be the getaway driver who's coming back to see where his uncle has gone, who's run off into the woods. He is up to no good. So she has him at gunpoint. She reaches over and grabs a big spoon. And you see that stove right there? She reaches over with her left hand and stirs the pot of beans she has going on the skillet while she. And we asked everybody later, was like, you mean you kept stirring the beans? She goes, well, we had company for dinner and that was all there was. We weren't going to have any dinner if I burned the beans.
Right.
So I use that story to say, isn't that an analogy of what I'm asking you to do? You know, it's basically, you've got all this real estate stuff going. You've got deals you don't want to fall apart. You got a seller that's about to pull a listing. You got the gun on them. You're like, this deal is not falling apart. And at the same time, I'm asking you to take that spoon and stir that pot of social media beans like your life depends on it. Because as far as I'm concerned, in real estate, it does. You got to find a way. So next time you think to yourself, I can't, it's too much, I just can't deal with this. If she can stir that pot of beans, you can at least keep it on simmer. Okay, we don't have to be at a full boil at that point, but we're going to at least keep it on simmer, keep something going, and stay top of mind. It is so hugely important, guys. And I laugh. It's a picture of my kids when they were little. I said, you know, we're all families. This is sometimes how our clients feel. But I said, not only our clients act this way, but we got kids, we got spouses. Our whole life is busy, right? They're still going to get in the paint in the backyard and decide to paint their swing set somehow. Life's not going to stop just because we need to be doing our real estate social media.
That's right.
You know? But that's good, because this is the kind of stuff that people like for you to post, frankly. And this is how you get real estate deals. It's posting stuff like this that people care about. You know, before I forget to tell you, you're going to laugh. I was at HEB, our grocery store, buying all the groceries for what I'm about to cook about 30 minutes ago. And while I was there, a guy that I know his name because our kids grew up together, but I mean, I don't know him well. Walks up to me, gives me a hug, happy Thanksgiving, whatever, walks back up to me 10 minutes later and goes, I just got to tell you, thanks for all the fun stuff you put on social media. He goes, you know, every time when I'm having a bad day or it's slow and I'm bored, I literally go, I wonder what Tammy's up to. I bet she got something. He pulls it up and looks, right? So we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but keep in mind that I've never seen him like or comment anything, ever. So there are so many people out there that eventually you'll learn someday on some of them that they've been watching all this time, and you're always in their mind, and they literally treat you as entertainment if you make it interesting.
Right. That's right.
So we don't want to do that. I don't have time. No one will be interested. I don't know where to begin. We're going to fix all that today. Realtors surveyed, 47% feel they fail at social media, and it's only about 1% of their business. We know it's hard to quantify, so who knows how much it really is, but 1% is scary low to me. Another story I have to tell you before we move on, it's not even really a story. It's very ironic. I tell people all the time, the one source you can't take from me is my Facebook. I don't care about your Zillow. I don't care about sign calls. I don't care about anything but my social media. So ironically, as we record this today, I'm in Facebook jail, which I've never. Jail. I am. And I guess that's what it is. It said there was a security threat. So if you go look up Tammy Pack right now, it's all white, blank, missing.
Oh, that's terrible.
Photos in. So fingers crossed, because I love to share the whole Thanksgiving cooking process while I am down. So my worst nightmare is coming true as we speak. I have no social media. So for us, I would say we estimate that it's about, you have to estimate some, because people like this guy, he would have come to us and I would have put him down as fear because I've known him from the past. But we don't interact in a physical way, seeing each other in person, right? It's only because he sees me on social media that I am top of mind. If we ever sell real estate because of him, he's one of the few that actually told me because social media. The rest of the time you just see it and you go, I know him from around town. He's my sphere. It's usually not that. So it's so much of our business, and it's all on personal brand. I see realtors almost all get it that they need to do something. They get it that they need to try. But what I see a whole lot of is like circle. It's like some kind of program that automatically posts some kind of listings. It's things that say they're videos and they're not. They're Ken Burns pan and effect screenshots of the same photos with some cornball music. I see a lot of the same old stuff. I'm talking about personal, fun, interesting, upbeat things with the real estate sprinkled in is, for us, what has completely built our business.
Do you have kind of a ratio like that you try to, hey, 80-20, 80% all fun, entertaining us, and then maybe sprinkle in 20% to help pay the bills?
That's a great question. And yes, 80-20 is the rule. And I tell people that rule is going to depend largely on how good you are at it. You could go way higher on business if you're good at making that interesting.
Gotcha.
In other words, if I'm doing a very official sharing some kind of open house flyer from something else, you better keep that stuff to the minimum because that's dull. You may or may not need to do it, but better yet, if I've done some before where I'm doing a live video in front of an open house, wearing a raincoat and a big hood, saying we're not going to melt, come on out. That kind of stuff, people will stop and look because it's entertaining. Right. So that's that melding. So if you're unsure, start with 80-20, but you can push that way up if you make the business part fun. Okay. The major topics is, what is a personal brand and why should you build it and how are you going to build it and the most effective tool. So it's basically just our reputation. Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about, he says, we use the word personal brand. It's a big buzzword now. He goes, back in the day, it was just your reputation. But now it's your reputation on steroids because of this and because of this, these things we've all got. Yeah. We don't just know the people in the neighborhood, right? It's not just Jenny from the block anymore. I mean, it's not just even the country, it's the world. I've got friends in so many different countries, and I know all of us probably do, right? So it's your reputation on steroids. And what an amazing and beautiful thing it is to be able to build it for $0. You can now become famous. You can become a rock star. You've got your own television show right there if you will take the chance. So why build it? Because you can, because this is the first time in history that the middleman's gone. You don't have to go audition for a show or to be a singer or anything else ever again. You go straight to the masses, and now talent and the creative is the deciding factor. And that's huge. That's unprecedented in human history. So we're very, very lucky to be living now. And Gary always says, the point of building your personal brand really is day trading attention. He goes, we aren't just buying for attention versus other realtors in our market. We're buying for attention versus that Super Bowl ad that's coming on, or the next tickets to the Spurs game, whatever is out there that takes people's attention away from remembering that you exist. Because think about it. You don't really care about seeing plumbers ads about plumbing, but if you have a plumber in your area who is fun, friendly, helpful, smart, post pictures of him down digging at midnight, is what I do for taking care of my people. When you do need a plumber, that's who you're going to think of. So that's what we're doing. We're just staying in front of them. So when they do need a realtor, that's who they're going to call. Love this JJ Watt quote. I think you used it in the promo. Success isn't owned, it's leased, guys. We all know it. And the rent is due every day. The good news and bad news is you can be a star overnight. Right here. And the bad news is you can be forgotten overnight because some new star's coming on, right? So you got to keep rolling. It's not a one and done. So you don't get very many breaks. I've looked back recently out of curiosity. Maybe this is why I got in jail. I don't know. And one day I had 12 different posts on Facebook that day. And it was great. I said, I'm really pleased because Gary, Tom Ferry, a lot of folks will tell you, as much as you can put on there, you can't create too much content. That's right. Because there's no one out there, unless they're your biggest fan, that's going to have seen all 12. They right. just won't show it. It won't show them all that, right? The algorithm won't do it. It won't do it, right? Whether that's your business page, personal page, they're not going to see it all. And I like to have a wide variety because there's a little something for everyone. I've had another person in town say that she works a lot. She owns a business. She had me come out and do some comps for her. I think mainly she just wanted to meet me in person and talk about the way she acted. Because she goes, every Friday night, that's when I have my time. And that's when I pull up your page and start going through all your stuff. That's our job, is to entertain people, to become NBC, right? That's right. If you just put a little time here and a little time there into doing that, you're going to see money in your pocketbook from it. Back in our day, this is what we had, right? We had a television set with rabbit ears. That's one of the things they were trying to steal when my mom got there. They were hacking down the little antenna thing that was all hooked to. But that's all we had was that. And I love Gary's quote when he says, social media has become TV. TV has become radio. And it's 1965. So in other words, we're just beginning. We're at the very cusp of this. This is, he'll use the words many times. Obviously, I'm a big fan of some of his philosophies. He'll say, social media is basically the current state of the internet. He goes, that's what it is. That's what it means. There's your definition. Whatever is going on in the internet now, that's our social thing. Maybe it's even Amazon and things, but you're buying things and you're sharing it. You're talking about it. You're having conversation. The current state. This is what every realtor who's not like me asks, and that should be asking. I should be asking, but I'm not always the best. I'm always like, do it, walk in faith, and hop on out there to work out, But the good ones want to know, what's the return on investment of putting my time and or money into this versus everything else I have to do? Because there's no shortage of things to do, right? So this is a piano, and I thought the best example I've heard, that was Gary's example, but he said, what is the ROI of a piano? A beautiful Steinway in my hands. Big goose egg. That would be the worst use of it, right? But you put it in Elton John's hands, the return on investment is enormous. Same as a basketball in Magic Johnson's hands versus mine. So he says, so the variable, it's not the piano, it's the creative. How good are you? So if we can practice our craft and hone and become better at the creative and keeping people's attention and making them watch, that's the variable. Because people say, well, I post, somebody out there's going to say, well, I post 6 times a day and I don't get any traction. No offense, but it's probably not any good. A lot of us, we have to grow our craft, right? And sometimes we try to be so professional that we're a little too stiff, a little too dry, and we're just boring. And when people are going to keep scrolling past. Now, also understand that not everything's for everyone. We have had listings that we didn't get in the past. We eventually got them, but we didn't get because word got back to us eventually that they thought we had too much fun and they didn't like our orange feather boas at our parties and our celebrations and our fun glasses. And I said, then we're not for them. That's a little stuffy for me. I don't have any intention of being that serious about any of this stuff. Yep. So know your audience, dive into it. And if you are the guy, that spreadsheet guy, super nerd guy, then play into that. Let that be your thing. Be you, but be boldly you, be vulnerable, and go about 20,000 times deeper than you felt like.
I kind of like the on the party bus to the Kentucky Derby type of feel. That's kind of my speed.
Right. And that works for you because it's genuine, right? So people believe that it's you and you're just doing your thing. Absolutely.
Having fun.
The numbers you guys have seen every time I run them, these are already out of date. Facebook has 2 billion active users, 700 million. That's already higher for Instagram. This is what I get asked all the time, and we all do. Facebook versus Instagram. And everyone's like, oh, Instagram's where it's at. Yes, I use Instagram and I am growing it over there, but do not fool yourself. Facebook is still the Mac Daddy and is going to be for a very long time. I know why I like it better. I like it better because I believe there's more conversation there, right? The only way on Instagram you have conversation at all is in your stories. And very few people take the time to stop, send you a message, to say anything. So you feel a little Twitterish. You feel a little bit like you're throwing something out in the grand world and no one's listening. It's in a black hole. You go to Facebook and what will get me 10 comments on Instagram will have me 100 comments and real fun, funny, silly conversation that I enjoy on Facebook. Also groups. What are we recording in right now?
Yep.
A Facebook group. Where's that over on Instagram, right? We don't have that ability. So they're both important, but don't give up on Facebook anytime soon. Snapchat, I don't care about that. Twitter, I can't deal with. LinkedIn, Gary is convinced that he goes, LinkedIn right now is acting more like Facebook 2011 than anything since Facebook 2011. He says, so keep a very close eye on it. And if you have a little bit of spare bandwidth to do something, make sure your LinkedIn looks good. Yes. And this is another interesting point. On Twitter, I asked my younger daughter this week, I said, she said, have you seen that tweet I did, Mom? It's got like 1,000 comments on it. And I said, no, because I put something out there and it just went into a black hole. She gave me a tip. She goes, no, you're trying to put your own unique content out there. You're trying to create a tweet. She goes, if you care about Twitter and you want engagement, she goes, I go find the conversations where there are already thousands of things. I say something, the audience is already there, and that's where it can take off. And I thought that was interesting. I hadn't really thought of that. She said, you're trying to create something from scratch over there. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Thanks for
getting the
letting me know.
conversation.
All right. So it's like, where do I post? How much do I post? Because it's a lot. We can only do so much. There's those numbers again. I already talked about why I love Facebook. So let's just get down to it. How do you build your personal brand on social media? There's 3 things, and they sound simple. They sound obvious, but they're not, because I look around and people are not doing them. If you will do these, I'm telling you what can change your business for not a dime. Just some of your time. That's all you're going to spend. You got to be interesting. You got to be genuine, and you got to be consistent. Be interesting. You know, you want to build your story, because we talked about it, right? We're day trading attention. If you're boring, they're just going to keep scrolling. You gotta slow the roll, right? You gotta do something that can go, what is that? A lot of times I'll let the thumbnail of my video be ridiculous looking, because they're going to stop and go, what is she doing? Why she got that horrible look on her face? You know? I just want them to slow down long enough to look, because then they might listen and pay attention, right? The other question, I know you get it too all the time, is are y'all talking about my business page or my personal page? That's the thing everyone hones in on. Yes to both. Absolutely, positively, yes to both. The business page, you obviously can go further with your business, and you can pay to reach new people. And most importantly for me, for the business page, is you can have as many followers as you can get. On our personal profile, we know that we are limited to 5,000. And I don't know if I added more slides about this or not, but I'll just say it now, we'll skip it. Every one of you needs to make your top goal that's easy and free is to fill up your list at 5,000 people. Don't ever go below 5,000.
Yep.
That is my belief. I told y'all at the conference, it's a lot like me coming and saying, look, I'm going to buy you guys high-end glossy magazines. I'm going to mail them out to your farm about you, your family, your listings, your life, making you interesting, writing up articles, beautiful magazine. I'll give you as many copies as you want. I'll mail them for you, up to 5,000 copies. How many copies would you take?
Right. Break that apart again, because you explained it extremely well in Key West, and I see it all the time. Right. I'm looking at people to see how many that they have, and I made the mistake. You shared this story like with what Wes does, and I used to do the same thing. Right. I would look through and was like, man, do I want them in here or not? And then I think when you get over that mental hurdle, it's just like add everybody. So kind of break that down. How you to get to that point and how you shared it.
Absolutely. I had, a couple thousand friends, something in that range. And when I got intentional, every request I had, I said, if they're from Fredericksburg, Texas, or if they live in Fredericksburg, Texas, I want them to be my friend. Because even if they're from there, they've probably got family back there looking to buy, sell, they want to move back. So for selling real estate, I want all of them. Now, I don't go actively send out a lot of requests to like a young teenage boy. That might look weird. So, don't be a weirdo, but frankly, if the young teenage boy had requested me, I wouldn't think twice of it and I'd accept it, but I wouldn't reach out to him. Sure. But really almost anything else, I will. So there's 2 groups. If you're an EXP, you also want to have realtors in your 5,000.
Yes.
I want to find a way to run a report. I bet 4,000 of my friends probably are realtors, maybe more. It's crazy.
But what type of realtors do you want?
Yes, this is a good point. So I will take anyone at first, but once you get to 5,000 is when you got to get choosy, right? So I said, I am happy to have you as my friend if you are an EXP, if we know each other in person and have a relationship. Otherwise, when I need to make room for a KW person, I'm going to delete you.
You're out.
Don't take offense because I'm not doing it personally. This is gold. This is my one marketing opportunity. I've got 5,000 slots. So if we're real friends, I'm going to leave it there. But otherwise, you don't need to be there. You can go over my page. I got plenty of stuff out there. You can't miss me. But keep it at 5,000. Another reason I'd like to keep it at 5,000 and not $49.99 is what if somebody sends a Facebook request, which, you get a bunch every day. The more you add, the more you get. Wes is learning that now, man. He's on a roll. He's got like 1,700 friends. He is doubled like in the last.
That's awesome.
Doubled. And he keeps going, why am I getting all these requests? I said, probably because the activity now you're showing up as suggested in their friends, and it just builds, right? Yep. So at first you just take whoever, whatever, and people worry, but what if it's some weirdo? I'm like, then delete and block them then if they're a
Yes,
weirdo.
yes.
Less than probably 1 in 1,000 people or fewer are weirdos. So who cares? Just let them in versus spending hours. I click on their photo enough to see Realtor KW, great. Or from Fredericksburg, Texas, great. Yes, we're in. But stay at 5,000, because if someone sends me a request and if I'm at my max 5,000, it sends them a message, unable to add friend. This person has met their limit. So 2 things happen. Number 1, they think I'm pretty cool because most people in the normal world do not have 5,000 friends. That's just not the normal world for whatever reason. So they think I'm pretty cool. But more importantly, they know I'm not blowing them off. It says unable to do it. If I'm at $49.99, they don't get that message. And I don't sit around thinking everyone's just dying to see if I accepted their friend request. But out of those 50, there's probably 1 that really, really, really wants to be my friend, and they're bummed and they think I'm blowing them off. I'd way rather they get a message. But I have to check it because about every 2 days on average, I lose 1 friend. So some crazy person out there drops me. I don't know who this is, but every once in a while it happens.
Yeah.
So keep
absolutely.
it full at 5,000. It's a huge deal. And your personal profile will always be far, far, far more effective than your business page. So you're crazy if you're keeping that down. Yep. The other thing agents will say is they're like, but what if I send them a request and they don't know me and they ask, who are you? I was like, I can think about, I want to say maybe twice that happened. And I wrote back and said, oh, I just send requests to everybody here in Fredericksburg. No harm, no foul. Have a good one. Right. And that's it. They either accept or they don't. I really don't care. And if they think I'm weird, I really don't care, because that just tells you something about them, right?
Block and move on.
Who cares? Who cares? Just
roll on.
Don't worry about what they think. And if they ask you, answer them and go to the next one, send another request. People, Instagram really kills me. I gave this talk at the Real Estate Mega Moms Conference, and I had a very successful agent come up and go, I keep my Instagrams private. What do you think about that? I was like, you're joking, right? You're wolf followers, but you're private. You're really hard to find. I know what you're doing. She goes, I knew you were going to say that. So, okay. I was like, I really can't. It's kind of like those people that want to do a pocket listing or something like that. And I'm like, well, I can try, but it's real hard to market things in secret. I really can't do it.
There are no secrets anymore.
No, right?
So
throw it out there.
No, I love it. I'm glad you shared that. So I just want to emphasize this, because this is something you guys can do right now. You can do it over the holiday here, is be really strategic. Get to 5,000, request in your local area. So Tammy's in her market in Fredericksburg, Texas, anybody and everybody, like, she wants people that live there because she's still selling real estate. And then any and all real estate agents, ideally you guys listening in, part of EXP, unless you're friends, you don't want EXP agents. You want other real estate agents. So just be very intentional, very strategic, get to 5,000 as fast as you can. And then you can be a little more stringent and get rid of people and add people that fall into those 2 buckets. So I thought that was like one of the major home run takeaways from Key West that I wanted to really deliver for everybody here today.
Yeah, and you can do this while you're standing in the grocery line, the bank teller line, anything else. You just go through there, and if you have friend requests, unless there's something weird, or strange pic, even then, who cares? Just yes. They send you a weirdo message, block them. Yes. Spend 10 minutes here or there while you're watching TV. Just send them, and then once you fill it up, now you can go back and be choosy. So now I go back and look through the friends and see who can I delete to get this person in. Being interesting, of course, is the most important thing as to whether they're going to want your friends or they going to care about who you are or remember you. So it starts with your story. And I jokingly say, I got divorced and started dating when I was 47 years old. That was in 2014. And just being divorced with 2 teenage kids in a small town was already interesting. Then I meet this wonderful, handsome man on Match.com. Well, that's hugely interesting in a small town when nothing's going on. That was the talk of the town right there. Little did I know anyone cared, So that got him looking. I thought, okay, so now, then we go get married in Paris with beautiful children here, good-looking kids, and put the photos up there. And everyone, I would be shocked that people would comment, I just keep going through these albums over and over. I've never seen anything like it. So they were enjoying it. You guys have some magical photos from that wedding. I chose the location of Paris because of the photographer. I looked around the world. The best photographer I could find was in Paris. And I was like, we're going where the photos are. Because when it's all over, what you got is the photos, right? I mean, once the moment's done. So what is your story? Because people go, but yeah, that's not me. I'm older. I'm too young. I'm heavy. I'm too thin. Everybody's got a reason. But your story is going to be very different from my story. Doesn't matter. We'll go back here because I like to give these examples just real quick. Some things that I've thrown out, for example, and I think somebody should do it. No one I've seen do it yet, but I would say I am looking for the best 5 recipes next week, Monday through Friday. I want 5 recipes, 1 per day, that have 5 or less ingredients. You can make it in about 5 minutes and cost $5 or less. I said, we're going to do that for 5 days next week for fun. Send me your best stuff. Does anyone have some? Because I'll just Google it if y'all don't have any. You think people won't start? People love to give their opinion. They love to weigh in. But don't be the guy that pays someone to give you content where everyone asks if pineapple belongs on a pizza. At least when you have 4,000 realtor friends and I see 87 ask that in the same day, I'm annoyed, And I'm like, well, all it tells me is you don't have any confidence in your own creativity. Think of something totally different. Maybe you're a lousy cook and you say, all next week, my goal is to come up with who can send me a recipe that I can't ruin. That's the goal. And I'm going to cook it and we're going to have a taste test. And if it's great, we're going to post it. Who wouldn't watch that, right? To say, oh, I'm not a very good cook either. They're going to, it's foolproof. And this person is going to show how they did it. And they didn't mess it up and it was easy. Do something like that. If you're a great cook, turn it around and share that. Just become the person they want to see what you're up to. It could be a weight loss journey. It could be a health journey. Millions of things out there. Just think about, here's what I tell people, the biggest tip I'll give you probably when you're trying to figure out, I don't know what to post. What are people already telling you? People come up to you in your life and they tell you what your story is if you're listening. They come up and they tell you, how do you do it all? I see you carrying the kids around and selling real estate. You're the best soccer mom on the planet. How do you manage? They're telling you what your brand image is. People were telling me when Wes and I got together, Tammy, I've known you for years, or I've known you around town. I've never seen you so happy. I'm just enjoying watching this. This is amazing. You just smile. So I started listening. Everywhere I went, they were telling me. And they're telling you, they're saying, man, John, you run these methods. I'm just blown away, but you can run these things. You can go all these miles. They're telling you, right? I bet you get this constantly. That's your story. They're telling you what's interesting. So don't ignore that and it goes up boring.
Just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen. That's awesome. That's a great
takeaway.
takeaway.
Whether it's your super dad, you're the smartest agent in town, you always know whatever it is, and dive deep into what they're already telling you you're good at. Donkeys and unicorn theory. I'll make this one really short. The bottom line is Larry Kim came up with this and it was great, but he took an hour to explain it. So I'm going to explain it in 90 seconds if I can. The bottom line is once you go on your business page and you got a little budget to spend because you want to boost it, run an ad, whichever. A lot of times they said, if you got 10 posts, most people say, and $100 budget, they'll put $10, $10, $10. That's not the worst thing to do if you're just putting a little bit toward it. But the best thing you can do is wait and see what Facebook already likes organically, what people like organically, what they're enjoying, and put way more budget on that. And the reason is that's how Facebook charges you. So I said, Google pay-per-click, they'll say, what will you bid for the term Fredericksburg, Texas real estate? $1.50. Okay, you put it in. Every time someone clicks on that, they're going to charge you $1.50. Facebook's not that way. Facebook, you guys know this. I'm sure you've tried to boost a post at least, right? And you said, my budget is, it asks you blankly, what's your budget? $5. Let's see what that does. You type it in, it says you will reach between 420 and 3,800 people. That's a really big range, Facebook. How can you not know? Google knows. What are you telling me? Okay, fine. $5, I can risk it. So what happens is you make your post, you got your bid in, and Facebook starts going, let's start this gal off at, let's say, $0.25, because I don't know if her post's going to be very good. Is it a donkey or a unicorn? Odds are it's a donkey. So they're going, someone engaged. This is how they charge you. An engagement, a like, a comment, a share. Someone liked your post. So Facebook slows up and takes a little notice of that. Okay, maybe this isn't a really boring post after all. Maybe it's okay. Someone else goes along and likes it again. You start getting a little traction. Facebook's like, well, maybe I'll just charge you 20 cents each click out of your $5 budget.
Right.
Because we slow down, so we're going to let it last a little longer. And then more people, then somebody comments. Somebody likes it so much and it's funny, they're enjoying it, so they share it. Facebook's like, whoa, what's a few pennies between friends? Let's slow down here. This is good and interesting, unique content, which makes you like Facebook, right? Facebook looks at it and says, you posting a bunch of donkeys, man, you are killing Facebook. People see that, they go, boring, I'm out here. I'm going over to Instagram. Well, of course, they own it, so they might not care about that. I'm going over to YouTube. They don't like that at all.
Right.
So they look at it and they go, hey, we don't want you making people leave because you're boring. So what they'll do is the more people like and engage and start clicking and clicking, they start charging you less for each of those, and less and less and less. So your $5 budget lasts a long time. They want to drag it out because you got good stuff. And I have literally, pets are a huge source. My cat, Princess Cocoa Beans, has 78,000, I think, followers on Instagram, and same on Facebook. It's crazy. Pets are easy to promote. So I have seen the cheapest I've ever seen per engagement. Remember, a like, a click, a share, a comment is 0.00004 for each engagement. I was like, I have no idea how to read that. 0.01 would be a penny. So a point and then 4 zeros and a 4, I can't even begin to read.
Right.
So what does that tell you? They want to charge you so little that good, funny video of Coco stays on Facebook, and has people going, oh, okay, Facebook's cool. Because guess what Facebook has a huge crisis of? Original, entertaining content.
Yeah.
You know what it's got a ton of? Political arguing that nobody cares about. No one's ever going to change their mind based on. Don't even think about doing that mess. And then they got a whole bunch of people sharing recipes and posting quote cards that they got from some other source that they didn't make. Facebook's got that in spades. I'm like, why would Facebook want you just sharing all these recipes when if you want a recipe, that's just a share. I don't mean something creative you've done. Why don't you just go to betterhomesandgardens.com? Why are you going to Facebook, right? So they really want to reward and keep around something unique, fun, entertaining. That's the theories of donkeys and unicorns. So you put your things out there, you see which one starts getting the traction. That's the one you put your money on. You'll get the most bang for your buck. And there is my sweet Princess Cocoa Beans. She just the cutest thing ever. And she actually has had her first 2 sponsored deals on Instagram and has earned $1,000 already just for a newsfeed post and 3 stories. So not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal at all.
Yeah, this is the original donkey and unicorn, situation we had on our B&B side. Okay, on our B&B side, we had about 7,000 fans over on that page. B&Bs, that's pretty easy to push because that's our other business, and who doesn't want to look at vacations, right?
That's right.
But you could say the same about real estate, right? It's eye candy. People enjoy beautiful photos of beautiful properties. So this one, we had about 7,000 followers. It took me 7-8 years to gain. And then we had a new marketing gal. She wasn't even that. She really just answered phone calls. And we said, you're young. Maybe could you help us out? We're busy. We can't deal with it right now. She goes, yeah, I'll take it over. Okay, she took it over. But most of them would, just because they're young, don't think it means they're good, right? Because there's a lot of one post and they'd never touch it again. They weren't good. Something about the post she started doing, I looked one week and I was like, okay, we should grow that. I got about 7,000. That's not bad. And then I looked a second time, maybe a week later, and it was 14,000. And I was like, that can't even be. I'm going to look at that tomorrow because I'm tired. Clearly, I'm crazy. Real. That doesn't happen. Well, I went and looked back the next day, and it was real. So I looked, and I found a post on there that had, I need to screenshot it, 1,820 comments and 3,600 shares, I believe it was, which is crazy. So I called this gal up. I had not even met her. She was in the building next door and said, this is wonderful. She goes, yes, that really took off, didn't it? And I said, yeah, it kind of did. They were relevant kind of shares. They weren't just going to share generic. They were saying, hey, John Kitchens, when are we going to stay here? How about this place for mastermind? And he was answering back, yeah, let's put it on the list. They really cared about what we were showing them, right? Legit. And she goes, I said, how much you spend on that? She goes, oh, no, ma'am, I don't have any authority to spend any money. It's all free. So guess what? We went and spent $300 on was that post. And that page, last time I looked, has 34,000 followers. And they're engaged followers. Followers are great, but you will go to other vacation rental sites. There's some that have 200,000 followers that are nationwide, and you'll go look, and they've got 5 likes on a post, no comments. You go look at ours, and rows of comments, likes, and shares. So whether people are looking at it, we all know what's really important, right? So get them engaged with that. Then you got to be genuine. And I say, we've talked about it a little already, but you just got to be a little bit vulnerable. And to be vulnerable, you got to be confident. Because if you're insecure, then you got to pretend you're perfect and never show the other side. I tell people shoot for something in the range of 90% to 10%, 90% aspirational, and 10% vulnerable and inspirational. So in other words, if you're only the glum Gus that's got a rough life, that's going to get old real quick. But if you're also only plastic and perfect and only show that my life's perfect and this is how I wake up every day, then they're not going to like that either. So they want to mostly see why they should care because, oh, you got a pretty good life. You seem pretty happy. Okay, life's going good. I'm checking it out. But you think you're all that, that's when that 10% comes in. You got to show them how hard you work to get there. You got to show them the down days when you don't have any makeup on and you're just tired and you're down. I've posted before that, just had a crummy week and got these flowers and it really meant the world. But people need to hear that occasionally because I say we all tend to judge one another in one moment of success and we have no idea what it took for them to get there. We make a snap judgment and that's what you want to show them, those little hints. I do a drive video a lot of time, I've kind of changed up lately, but where I would talk about just whatever on my drive to work. One of the days I just titled it, I am so tired. I was up early. It's been a year. I don't know why I was so tired, but I did it with no makeup, my hair in a chip clip, looking crazy. And I had so much engagement on that. And I literally had someone that I've known for years reach out and say, she goes, you're not gonna believe this, but this morning I actually had to go to the grocery store with my hair wet out of the shower. And I literally thought to myself, Tammy Pack would never go out like this, which of course is crazy. But, and then I looked on Facebook and there you were with your hair up in a clip saying, I'm exhausted. I just can't even do anything today, guys. I feel you. This is, and so now she related. So if my next 5, 7, 9 posts were cheery, upbeat me again, and everything's back to this, she will accept that more because she knows I'm not a liar. People will smell it on you if you're faking it. They will smell it all day, right?
Gotta be real.
To be real, you got to be vulnerable, and people don't want to be vulnerable because you got to be secure to do it.
That's right.
This is one of my most.
I remember this one. This was great.
I said, okay, first of all, yes, the photo on the left, I have a mouthful of food. I look crazy as I'll get out. And I was like, that was 7 years ago. So I said, and I didn't post this. I said, not to say that I've arrived now, but I want to post again in 7 years and say, what can I do to be better in 7 years from now than I am now? Healthier, fitter, feeling good, taking care of myself.
I remember seeing this when I was like, hold on a minute. Because, I got to spend time with you in Cincinnati and we went to the Kentucky Derby and, the bus trip there back both days. And I was like, Holly and I saw this and we were like, what the hell?
Right? And of course, I picked a horrible photo, but the reason I picked it is my older daughter had this photo in her phone. And they're like, oh, you were so sad. I was like, we were in Paris. I was having a pretty good time. I was in Europe with my kids. It wasn't that bad. But she had this picture in her phone. So a few months ago, she randomly sends it to me like she does occasionally with things like, OMG, Mom. Like, what was your deal?
That's great.
So that's why I shared it. I said, because if you look at me now and go, hey, you've had this advantage or that, I'm like, no, we all choose where we are in a moment and we flip it or we keep going downhill. And I decided I wasn't going to do it.
I love it.
Those are the kind of things that people love. Another post I did, you guys could do something like this. I said, okay, girls, we all know we've seen all these clothes on Facebook and they look really great, like for sale ads. And then they say they're $29.95. We're like, how good could that be? I said, so I just ordered a boatload of them and I'm going to try them on for you guys and we're going to see how they look. So what I did, and I'll tell you what I did right and where I missed the boat. I took a picture of me in probably the 5 that I liked the best. They looked great. So I put a picture of the model. I screenshot it and then a picture of me beside it. I said, model picture, real life person. Model picture, real life person. This is okay, a little loose here, whatever. I said, but you know what would have been far better? I got gobs of engagement. People love that because I always say, yeah, they're like, I didn't know if that stuff would be okay, but you're right, for $29.95, so who cares if the material's not perfect? It's good. But if I had been smart, I would have done that and I would have followed it with the 5 worst outfits in the bunch that were ill-fitting and cockeyed and made me look ridiculous. That would have been way better.
That would have been gold.
Yeah. So now I know. So I'm giving you some good stuff here. Whenever you find something that's slightly embarrassing and that's what you don't want to post, that's when you should stop and go, that's probably what they really want to see. Okay.
Yep.
So, people have confidence problem. What people won't like it if I post too much. I gave you all the quick story that, we took a trip to Europe and I used Facebook back then, even in 2012, 13. I use it as my personal scrapbook. I just want those photos to be somewhere. If I get hit by a Mack truck, my kids have them because I ain't got time to scrapbook. Right. But I thought, man, am I posting too much? Am I annoying anyone back there? This was back in the day. I got home and one of the girls' teachers said, thank you so much for sharing that. She said, I've been going through cancer treatments and I couldn't go anywhere this year. And your trip was my trip. Every day I woke up thinking, where are we going today? I can't wait to see, read. So don't assume bad of people and that they don't want to see it. Because if they don't like it, we all know they can keep us scrolling.
Yep.
And then we're all afraid to, if I do post, what if people don't like it or not enough views? That's the human condition. It crosses all of our mind. The people who win are the people who are mentally tough enough to get past it and do it anyway. It occurs to everyone. I'm not going to say that it doesn't occur to me to look. It occurs to everyone to look, right? Another thing, I don't know if this is everyone's problem, but I'm from the South, so my younger daughter told me to quit being so nice. And I thought, that's a weird comment you don't hear very often. And she said, Mom, if somebody's watching you talk on a topic, they expect you to have an opinion, or why are they watching? She goes, you can say once, this is just my opinion, but that's it. Don't say it again. Go, let people that like your style and your opinion, let them go deep with you and let the others leave. That's what you want.
That's it.
Not everyone's going to
like you. I love that because I have a high level of awareness, just like you do. When people say that, it's like, well, I want you like own your thought, own your perspective. It's just like, oh, in my opinion, it's like we get it. It should be your opinion. I mean, so I don't know. I did
a video that was really popular the other day, and I made sure that I threw up maybe only one qualifier. And my video was like, I don't like when people that are my friends post all this garbage that they've shared. It's not unique, and it talks about toxic work environments, toxic this, and And I said, are there people that beat their wife? That is a toxic person, clearly. Get away from that bad guy and go flip that, run and own your own life. Don't sit around sharing out, get these toxic, it's garbage. Because I said, the truth is, and I said, I understand that there are bad people in bad situations, but 99 times out of 100, when you see that posted, no, they're just dealing with people at work that aren't like them or disagree, or maybe having a bad day, or they're a failed, flawed human being, as we all are. Everyone. They could use a little grace. Stop the toxic crap. Because the truth is, you manifest what, you find what you're looking for. And you start going into the office looking for that toxic thing, instead of coming in there going, I'm going to be the brightest ray of sunshine ever here. And if someone's having a bad day, I'm going to turn it around, because I do not own that. And I'm not going to post about it, which is self-indulgent, self-pitying, maudlin. None of that stuff. I have no use for any of that. So I only tried to make sure I put one or two qualifiers. Like, I know there are some evil people who've hurt children and things. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the 99.9%, which is something that happened at work that they didn't like. So let's don't go down that road. But you know what? People loved it. Even ones that would say, yes, I did have a toxic situation, but you know what? It was an abusive person, and I left it, and I'm a positive now, and life is great. I was like, yes, so don't fill your feed looking for sympathy. Be consistent. We're going to post consistently with variety. We've talked about that quite a bit already. I've done, is it on here? Yeah. I did this post one time just to see, what kind of post do you prefer? Video all the way, text plus photos, pics only, ain't reading nothing. Mix it up. I like a variety. See, again, don't be so serious. Unless it's truly, truly, truly your personality. Right. People will read this and laugh more. Don't just say A, video, B, text, C, photographs. It's much fun. It's more fun to go pics only. I ain't reading nothing. Yeah, okay, that's me. I'm going to click that one. And by far, though, the answer was D. Mix it up. Give me a variety. Everyone guessed that A, I thought A, video, might win, but it didn't. D, mix it up, was the winner. And the funny thing about it is, I hate to admit it to people, but I tell them all the time, chances are I've not seen any of your live videos, because I am known for doing them and I don't like watching them. Yep. But I will read till doomsday. I mean, if you're a writer and you can write something long and it's interesting, I'll just read with you all day.
Suck me in too. Yep.
Right? So you're going to post consistently with variety. Like I say, I've had posts before sometimes where I've had 12 posts in a day, and there was so much variety on so many topics. Some were videos, some were whimsical, some were the office, some were the cats, some were rants. Mix it up so they don't get bored with you. If you're just a one topic person, they're going to care, just like you do with TV or anything else, right? You flip those channels. So you want to stay top of mind by posting all the time. Add your friend base. We talked about that. And there's that dog picture I love. I said, is this you when you get a friend request? Like, what is it? Wes forever used to be like, what does this guy want? I was like, probably nothing. He probably sent 50 requests, get over yourself, and click accept. So now he does. He's doing well. There's that 5,000 we talked about. Yep. It allows you to communicate for free with far more people. Then the real goal, if you want to get in front of some people and get on their radar like no one's business, comment consistently. People like, but they love a comment. Because stop and think, guys. You know good and well, John, every time you love seeing that people have liked it. And if they're one of the names that pops up randomly, then that's cool. But you're never going to click on that and start going through and reading every little person that hit a like, but you will 100% read every comment.
Every comment.
Every comment. And now when someone you don't even know, maybe in your community, has said something, not on every single post, but every few, and you're like, man, who is this person? And they're going to click on your profile and look. And when you're saying something nice, genuine, and kind, you should be able to do that, folks. If someone's got a graduation photo in there, how on earth can you not just say blessings to them? It looks like you have a wonderful family, good job, or that's a great school. Anything genuine, quick, and positive like that. And I said, if you can't come up with something genuine and kind to say, then we got a bigger problem that we're going to be able to solve in this video.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jesse Itzler has what he calls it his 3 C's. You congratulate, compliment, and console, right?
Yes.
You're looking for those 3 C's on, go out and make those comments. Any opportunity that you can get, congratulate, console if they're having, going through struggles or whatever. And then whatever the other one is, but just that's a good basis to come from.
It's huge. I said, people, if you have nothing to spend on marketing, I can't tell you how helpful this is, because stop and think in your own world and your examples of those people who consistently say nice things on your post or give you feedback. You feel like they're part of your world, and they may live around the world. You really, really do. So there's no better use of 10, 15 minutes here and there. Don't be the guy in the grocery store who's going, I love all your stuff, and never said a word. Right. I don't care if he's that guy, but whatever his business is, I don't even know. And I'd probably know and be looking to support him if he was commenting on everything. Said, man, you crack me up. This is a lot of fun, right? Be that person who is going to do the business because you're just a good, kind person. Comment. When you've got a few minutes, comment. The 2 big fears of video we joke around, because video we know is king. Number 1 is I don't like the way I look on video. We laugh, and Tom Ferry, in one of the coaching systems, he would always say, he goes, people say, I don't like the way I look. And he's like, that's how you look in real life.
Get over it.
Get over it. I don't like to watch or listen to my videos. Sometimes I get on when Wes starts playing, I'm like, I don't want to listen or look at myself. But I know to get over it and move on, right?
That's right.
Then everybody's afraid no one will watch. Well, so what, and honestly, this is one of my favorite posts I did, and I've had so much engagement from it. And it says, if you can't read it, we're scared to post because we may not get hundreds of likes. But God would have spared Sodom and Gomorrah if only 10 righteous people could have been found. Focus on the 10 people you can help and forget the crowds. Quit deciding that 10 comments, likes, or people who cared what you wrote don't mean anything. And that's what we do. We get in these numbers games. I had a lady yesterday, I think it was it on my Instagram? I need to even figure out which one it was, but she wrote the nicest note on there. And I mean, I'll never forget it. I think it was on Facebook, which I'm locked out of at the moment, but she really wrote, she goes, you are my hero. And I just, in your weight loss journey and just being healthy, and you make me feel like I can do more. And I just got my 3rd thing under contract. I'm a new agent. It's nothing like you, but you really inspire me. I said, you are the hero here. And the fact that you took the time to do that, to say it, you made my entire day, and you made everything I put on here worth it. Because now she might not have had the nerve that time to say it, but that person is back there. She's never commented before. And she's to the point where she just thinks it's changing her world. So don't tell me that one person ain't worth it, right? They're worth it.
Yep.
Go live, go do silly videos. I've told you I do a drive video. One day I had to actually walk the cat to work because my daughter had taken my car, and it was only my 2nd day of the video series. I thought, well, dang it, I can't lose my momentum yet. So I popped her in her backpack, and we walked to work. Had by far the most views I've ever had because I thought outside the box. I didn't go, oh gosh, well, I don't have the car. I can't do it.
Right? Making all those excuses.
Break it up and have fun. Coco and I also did a Texas in 2 minutes video, which is silly stuff that people get a kick out of. They love it. If that's your bit and you don't feel strained or like it's not you. This is one last thing. The 2 tips I wanted to give you that are just golden takeaways. Every time I talk to people, they go, man, that's what I needed. Good deeds, posting about good deeds. We've got a thing that we've done with our teachers. Do I have it? Yeah. Where we've taken breakfast to the teachers, and we'd go in, they're like, oh, put your cards out. We're like, man, this is all about you guys. This isn't about us. Y'all enjoy some fellowship. We're out of here. You know who we are. We would take our logo, turn it into their school colors, and just say things like absolute charm backs our teachers, go Billies, something like that at back to school time, make some balloons or just some kind of little show. But the problem was then we started looking and going, man, like my manager was like, oh, but don't post about it. I mean, because, it's like bragging on charity, right? And I think we've all felt like, do I say something or not?
Yes.
So what I told people to do there, what worked for us, I said, I can't market in secret. I'm going to share it. I'm going to have to talk about it, but how am I going to do it? Here's how we're going to do it. And I went out there and I posted, I said, guys, our teachers are stressed. They are strained. They have fewer resources and more students in their classrooms this year than last year. They need us. They need the support. This is a little something we're doing for them. I would love to, I challenge all of you to come out and make us look like chumps. They deserve way more. So what do you want to give? Do you want to partner with us? Do your own thing? But let's get out there this year, guys, and just really help our teachers and show them we love them. Flipping that narrative in terms of now I'm asking you to help by showing you what I'm doing and say, this is nothing compared to what they deserve. Bring in and do more. That was so well received. The day after we took food to the teachers, we had a woman call and say she was giving us her $800,000 listing because no one had ever done anything for the teachers like that. And then, so then what happens is either more people do come out and do for the teachers, and we kind of secretly get credit for that because they know it's only because Absolute Charm did it and told them to, or they don't, and then they're still sitting there going, we knew Absolute Charm would be the only ones to do it. We're really in a no-lose situation here.
Right,
We've
absolutely.
And flipped it and genuinely said, please come help our teachers. That'll work for you guys. That's a winner right there.
That's awesome.
The number two, hot takeaway, the second one, there's only two of them. Number one, post about those good deeds, just flip it around, asking for help. Number two, post about your under contracts, even if we're always afraid, what if it falls out? So if you've got something, especially if it went under quickly, you want to post about that. So we posted the words under contract, some are missing, but it said under contract in 8 days. It was, a $5 million property. And I admit, I told my daughter, I was like, I don't know, should we wait and see if it falls out of contract? And she was just so smart. She goes, well, no. She goes, it won't be your fault. You did, think about it. You did your job. You marketed it. You got it under contract. It's not your fault if that happens. So I was like, so we nervously posted it. And guess what? It fell out from under contract. But it wasn't our fault. It had nothing to do with us. And a few months later, we got it back under contract and we closed it. More importantly, we got a $5.8 million listing because he saw this post. Yep. They rarely go back and look the property up and follow up to see. I mean, we were honest. We went back on this post and said, hey, back available. It's your chance. And all. We were honest about everything. People don't go back and follow up. But when he called me, he told me he had seen this post. That $5.8 million listing also got us a $3 million listing down the road because he referred them. And they both referred a $1.5 million listing across the street. That's what it turns into. We would have lost all of it for being fearful. So post things like under contract. Put it out there. If it falls through, go back and be honest about it. But it doesn't matter. Keep moving. Post those successes. So that's all I've got for you. Unless you have any questions, I've yammered on probably all you need.
You are amazing. I appreciate you jumping back in. For those of you guys, make sure listening to this, make sure you guys give Tammy lots of love. If you have any questions, right there's her information, reach out to her. She did another Expert Mentors live for us earlier this year. Make sure you guys go check that one out. It was absolute fire as well. Ms. Tammy, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so, so much. To Wes, we said hello. And man, I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
See ya.